Are we live?
Give me 1 second. It says it's setting up your meeting for YouTube Live. You'll get a little thing. Okay, it says it on the screen. It's being live streamed.
All right, there we go. Okay, so it's it's 7:09 p.m. Eastern time. Let's go ahead and call to order.
I was telling you to slam. Oh,
Dustin, Mr. Nana, I can't hear you very well. I'm so sorry.
thanks.
Oh, okay, maybe that was just crosstalk or background noise. Okay, Madam Secretary, if you don't mind, could you do roll call for us?
Certainly, I'd already started it a little bit, but all of the executive committee is here except for Mr. Hagopian. So I'm going to call the non-executive committee, Mr. Blankenship.
I'm here.
And Mr. Rufo. Okay, Mr. Benner. Mr. Dassing, Mr. Duque, Mr. Ford, Ms. Gabbard, Mr. Malagon, Mr. Nana,
Good. I'm here.
Mr. Chinyevich, Mr. Clark, Mr. Cowan, Mr. Hall, Mr. Hirsch,
Here.
Mr. Hyman, Ms. Jones, Mr. Pankey, Mr. Redpath,
Here.
and I don't think we have any staff, and I show as others, I believe Taylor Backen, the North Dakota chair, is here, and Mr. Hagopian just entered the room.
Fantastic. Okay, before we jump to our motion, does anyone have public comment? Especially if there's anyone who's not an LNC member. If you do, please go to the bottom, go to the raise hand function. Going once, going twice, 3 times. Okay. If there's no public comment, let's jump right into the motion, and then I'd like to hear from Mr. Redpath, if that's okay with everyone.
Madam Chair, since we only have one guest and the name's just Hector, I do like to note the guest. Is this Hector
Yep.
Roos?
Yes.
Okay, I just would like to note that you were here. Thank you.
Okay, great. So the motion I made was to encumber $17,000 towards the ballot access needs of our North Dakota affiliate from budget line item 7000-40. Mr. Redpath sent me an explanation of why he thinks that this is a good idea and also why we need to act quickly. This has been an ongoing discussion. I know that Andy Jacobs had some really strong feelings about it and thought it should have been started sooner. And there's a lot of urgency, but I'd like to hear from Mr. Redpath himself on why 17,000 is a good number and why we need to get started right away.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, the number, if I may, is $17,500. And here's my thinking. We need to get this Libertarian Party of North Dakota petition drive going because, first of all, we can. There are a limited number of petition drives that we can accomplish in 2023. They start coming at a more fast and furious pace in 2024. And I think a good policy generally on ballot access is to do as much as possible, as soon as possible. I think that will make for a greater chance of success and also keep prices down over the long run, or the cost down. And so one thing we can do is, I mean, the Arkansas drive is nearly done. We can work right now on North Dakota. The Ohio drive is starting any day now. And I think that's all we can do until late in the fall. I believe we can start Kentucky late in the fall. So going back to North Dakota, Yeah, I agree with Mr. Jacobs that we should have started this drive earlier, but it is still accomplishable before the weather turns bad in cold, I should say, in North Dakota. I recently
Right.
saw where in Fargo, North Dakota, I think in September, I believe I saw where the average daily high is 72 degrees. In October, it's 56 degrees.
Wow.
November, the average daily high is 36 degrees. And then you get into the winter, and it's going to be very difficult to petition, say, post Thanksgiving. And even in November, you're going to have some very cold days. So we need to get going. In terms of, well, who's going to do this? I don't know who's going to do this, except Mr. Jacobs said he would go, and he says he has a friend who's in Colorado. He is petitioning on an initiative petition right now in Colorado, I believe. I called him up and I said, Andy, what would you want in terms of compensation for this? And he said he would like $5 per signature, and plus travel expenses to get to North Dakota from Colorado, but not travel expenses within North Dakota once he got there. We need 7,000 valid signatures in North Dakota. North Dakota is the only state that does not have voter registration, which means that there will be a very high validity rate in terms of signatures there. So we can, if we need 7,000 valid signatures, 8,000
Got it.
almost beyond a shadow of a doubt is going to be a sufficient number of signatures, unlike most other drives where you could not expect 7/8 validity. That would be not a shrewd thing to do in terms of running a petition drive for success. So the way I see it is Andy and his associate, I think, have the capability of doing 7,000 paid signatures right now in North Dakota. Taylor Bakken can speak. He's the chair of the LPND. He can update this if there's a new number. They have 150 signatures gathered by volunteers so far. We certainly would like as many volunteer signatures as possible, but I think right now we should prepare for 7,000 paid signatures and the buffer gathered by volunteers. And I hope they can get, 800 to 1,000 total volunteer signatures. That's not asking too awfully much. So the 7,000 times $5 is $35,000. At 17,500 from the LNC, that would be half. It is my understanding the LPND, it'll be a little more than 35,000. If you throw in the travel expenses, it would be a little more than $35,000. But 17,500, I think, would be a good contribution from the Libertarian National Committee. And I suggest that it be $3,500 at the 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%, and successful conclusion of the petition drive to be transferred from the LNC to the LPND. So that is my thinking behind the request for $17,500 encumbrance with those benchmarks that I mentioned.
Okay, thanks. I have one question, and then we're going to jump to our secretary. Do we just expect them to self-report, or Andy to self-report when he reaches 20%?
I would
and so
expect
on?
I would expect somebody in North Dakota. I mean, I would trust. I think Andy is an honorable person, and I think that he would be sincere. But I think it would be better, and I would expect that we're going to have a contact in North Dakota. I mean,
Yeah.
petitioners need to get paid. We will need somebody to be communicative. And so whether it's it could just be one person. Hopefully it's more than one or two people, or more than one person. But I would expect that a representative of the LPND ultimately will do the reporting on this to the LNC.
Madam Secretary?
I didn't know if you actually had made the motion yet, because I was going to point out some of the same things that Mr. Redpath did, in which the number was slightly different and that he wanted to put in some the staggered payments in there. But I didn't know if you had officially made the motion yet, and if you had wanted to hear from Mr. Backen first. So it was just a question as to whether the motion was actually live yet.
And if I may, Madam Secretary, I guess it just occurred to me, I've sort of presumed that this would be acceptable to the LPND, but I actually haven't verified that. So we might want to speak with Mr. Bakken about that.
Certainly. And if everyone's okay with it, let's hear from him right now. It's not live yet. I put together the motion super fast to make sure that we just had something in there. Yeah, Mr. Bakken, please go ahead.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. I've had issues with that before. So I kind of cut out for a second. My headset did die. So what was the question for me exactly? I guess I'm sorry.
Well, does this work for you? What we're
Yes.
proposing? Okay, 17,500. You have people on the ground generally who are going to help a little bit. Like obviously we're bringing in someone paid to do a lot of the heavy lifting, but you'll coordinate with them, help provide him with,
Is it Andy Jacobs that plans on coming up?
it sure is.
Yes, I have coordinated we've coordinated with him in the past, so
Okay.
I don't see why that would be an issue now.
Okay, great.
It was Andy and one other gentleman whose name we don't know, who's working with him in Colorado right now on a different drive.
Right. And I don't remember his name either, but Andy is really meticulous about the help that he gets. So I do trust that he will have good help. And I think that's probably another thing that we can check on when he reports in on the percentages, is we can just generally find out how it's going, how's assistance going, volunteer efforts. Oh, Mr. Hagopian.
Yeah, I have a question for Tyler, if I could.
Yeah.
So I believe the LPND had set aside almost 20K for this. So it basically would be a 50-50 drive. If we do the 20%, 40%, 60%, 80% payouts, my concern with that plan is whether or not we pay out while the weather's good, or whether we wasted it because we didn't get enough signatures while the weather was good, and now we're waiting for the next payout. Do you guys have, I guess might be a question for Redpath also. So are we going to get that many signatures during the warm weather is the question.
If I may, I haven't verified this with Andy Jacobs, but I would expect they would be capable of about 500 signatures per man week. So I would think that with 2 people up there, I would think 7 weeks. I would think we are in early August right now, 13 weeks until early November.
Okay.
Even if it weren't 500 per man week, this should be doable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That takes away my concern. All right. Thank you.
And that's assuming also they have 150 volunteer SIGs so far, but that they're going to get more volunteer SIGs as well.
Yes, I hope
Right.
so.
Sorry, one last question there. And then on top of that, though, so we're anticipating Andy Jacobs getting 3,500-ish, or 3,000 to 3,500, and then North Dakota will pay for the other 3,000 to 3,500. So they'll need to be on that 500 a man week schedule also. I think that's just something that we need to be clear on, and whether North Dakota feels like that's doable.
Yeah, I would ask Taylor Bach, do you think 500, based on your experience in North Dakota petition drives, do you think 500 per man week is doable? If not, what?
For volunteers or for?
No, for paid full timers.
I don't see that being an issue. I don't know what I don't know what Andy Jacobs done previously. Unfortunately, I was not part of the LP when he has worked with us before. I do know the last time he came up here, he was able to get us 1,000 signatures relatively fast. So I'm not quite sure on how long that exactly took him. I was not privy to that information at that time. I was kind of shut out of all those conversations at that time. So I'm not quite sure how long it took him.
Even if it were 400 per man week, that would be, times 2 would be 800 per week. times, let's say, well, times 8 or 9 weeks. So again, I think we're still with an average high in Fargo of 56 degrees in October. But I certainly would like Andy to, you know, I will speak with Andy. He's been wanting to get up there, and I presume he's going to move out of Colorado up there reasonably quickly. He's been wanting to do this for a while.
All right, any more questions about this in general? To our North Dakota chair, to Mr. Redpath? Anybody got anything? I'm glad we're doing this. Hopefully we're doing this. I think it's a really good idea. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and make the motion that the LNC encumber $17,500 towards ballot access petitioning in North Dakota from, what did I say, budget line 7,000-40 to be paid out in increments of 3,500 at the 20, 40, 60, and 80% completion marks. Do I have that? Did I get that right?
Yep, I think so. I'm copying it from what Bill had said into
Okay.
your motion. Can I ask what that budget line item is?
That should be just ballot access.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
I have it on the screen. I believe that is correct.
Okay. That looks good to me. Sorry, I'm zooming in because it's kind of small on my screen. Let's hide the participants thing. Okay, that looks good to me.
Madam Chair, does it require a second?
It does.
And then
Not a
I
small
will,
committee, it doesn't, but
You're right. It doesn't technically, but it feels good.
well, I would second if it was required.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion on this? We're gonna go to a roll call vote, but is there any objection? All right, well, if there's not, when our secretary is ready, we will go to a roll call vote.
be one moment. Let me just clear out this last ballot, which I should have did before the meeting, and I thought I did. And it's ballot number. Today is, is it the 3rd today?
It
Yes.
is.
And let me just get the wording of the motion in here. Oh, damn it. There we go. Sometimes I'm so grateful for that undo key. Mr. Bowen,
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian,
Yes.
I will vote yes. Mr. Watkins,
Yes.
Ms. Yanuskavich,
Yes.
Ms. McCardle, would you like to vote? It is,
Yes.
okay.
Well, now we
Did I
have a
miss
unanimous.
somebody?
I vote yes.
I missed Nikayla. How did I miss Nikayla? Because you weren't here a meeting, that's why. Insert row below, and let me put Stephen in there. Thought there was one short. Okay, so it is 7-0.
Awesome. All
Yes.
right.
If I
Thank
may,
you. Yes,
if I may,
please.
I just called Andy Jacobs. He's good to leave Colorado in a few days for North Dakota, and the associate of his as well. And he also mentioned, besides the travel money, which to get there, he also mentioned photocopying expenses, which I think is reasonable, but should be very minor.
Okay, well, I think if we need an update on the amount, I'm happy to revisit it too.
Yeah.
I trust he's gonna do a really good job.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's gonna happen is I need Mr. Bakken to get in touch with me, shoot me an email, so that I can get the first payment over to you. So I want to make sure we get that within within the week, preferably, right? Does that sound good?
Excuse me, we.
Do
wouldn't
I
they
need to
have hit-
wait?
Would,
Do I need to
under
wait
the-
for him to hit 20%, not start at 20%?
I would say 1,600, 15 or 1,600 SIGs would be
Then
needed
trigger it?
before the first, yeah.
Okay. Oh, because you guys have enough money right now to at least get them started. Okay. All right. Well, then I guess that's it. Let's just make sure we keep in touch. It's chair@lp.org. You can email me there and we'll make it happen.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody need anything else right now? We're good. Okay. Well, this is the only agenda item, so there's only one thing left.
Move to adjourn, Madam Chair.
There we go. Any
Second.
objections? Yes.
Thank you.
Any objections? If not, we are adjourned at 7:30 PM Eastern. Okay,
Thanks. Good night.
thanks, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.